Upon releasing my recent video regarding Upthrust, a number of errors were brought to my attention. I can't say that I'm looking forward to having to go through them, but sometimes you have to bite the bullet. There are a number of time-stamped sections which people may like to skip.
You see that thing that's just hollowed out glass?
No, this is not hollowed out glass. It is a sealed, airtight, solid object made of acrylic perspex. It does not have an open cavity or recess in it. The surfaces are reasonably flat with minor scratches and imperfections, but the mating surfaces and those edges are very specifically shaped, either beveled or rounded. Now both surfaces are dry. There is no suction effect, no adhesion, no sticking, no pulling. And I have no need to press these objects firmly together. Merely place them together and then place at the bottom of this container of water. And yet the object will remain in place at what is now the bottom of the container, regardless of it being less dense than the water that is displaced. I used a magnet so that I could initiate a change to observe. The magnet merely fastens the bottom plate to the bottom of the container. It does not in any way act on the object itself sitting on top of it. Then when the magnet is detached from the bottom plate, a change is observed in the object and the plate. An upthrust. Now you can try other shapes with flat surfaces and note the changes and effects observed. I'll leave that up to you, but here are some examples that I have done.
As you can see, if I push this down,
glue will do that too.
Yeah.
We're using the magnet at the bottom. He's got it underneath the container. He's trying to hold it down. I see what he's doing.
You're talking about bonding and fastening. This
Glue
isn't
will do that
bonded.
same thing. So will a nail. Any other.
Nor is it
method of
fastened, nor is there any
fastening
suction
to
effect.
prevent it. The water is literally pushing it against the plastic.
Yeah.
Right, the water pushing it. The water is literally pushing it against the plastic.
Yeah.
So which is it? Is the water pushing it down or is the water pushing it up? Yes, there is a magnet underneath. It is just rather than gluing the plate, it is not having any effect on the object
Glue will
above it.
do that same thing. So will a nail. Any other method of fastening it to the bottom to prevent it from rising. Right, the water pushing it. The water is literally pushing it against the plastic.
Yeah.
Right, the water pushing it. The water is literally pushing it against the plastic.
If your bonding agents and fasteners allow objects to move around freely like this, I'd check where you're getting your source of product from. As you can see, this perspex, very smooth plate at the bottom here is an inclined plane. And if you note the dimensions of it, there's a gap here. It's not flush up against the side. And the dimensions of this are slightly wider than this plate. Just ever so slightly. And when it moves along this plane, inclined plane to here, there's an overlap. I'm hoping people can actually see it. To enable that effect of the upthrust to press on the underneath of the object rather than just the plate that it's sitting on. So
Pay attention. Ooh, it's staying at the bottom. Ooh, it lets go with the magnet. It goes up.
Glue will do that too.
Yeah.
We're using the magnet at the bottom. He's got it underneath the container. He's trying to hold it down. I see what he's doing. That magnet doesn't do.
no, there is no magnet involved, and this time the plate is glued in specifically on an inclined
So the
plane.
water above it's trying to get in the air pocket.
Right, the water pushing it.
So according to some, apparently this has a pressure, a low pressure, holding it down on this plate, pressing it down, yet it doesn't get pressed down the inclined plane.
But you just chucked an air bubble over it so that the water couldn't spill into
There
it.
is no way for water to get into it. It's a solid, sealed,
I think
airtight
the magnet's
object.
denser than the water.
So yeah, the magnet weighs more than the plastic, so it makes it sink. Big deal.
Eh? The magnet
Yes.
weighs more than the plastic, and it makes it
Clearly not.
sink.
The perspex is quite able to sink by itself. The magnet is not heavier. With an 83 gram total, the magnets themselves are about 12 grams. So yeah, that's incorrect.
Right, the water pushing it.
So the water is pressing down, pushing on the plastic, and it's pushing the plastic
Right,
up
the water
also.
pushing it. The water
So is the water pressing it to the plastic, or is it pressing the plastic away from the plastic?
Temporarily until it slid off because it wasn't a perfect seal. It kind of lifted up, right? That's all it was.
So it's pushing it down on the plastic while pushing the plastic up on the object. Is that right? So that denser, heavier plate at the bottom is being pushed up while the object is being pushed down on it. Is that what you're saying?
No pulling forces exist. Yet you're showing a pulling force when you put it in. You just showed it many times.
Or would you like to demonstrate this pulling force that you insist is being shown? Because pulling forces don't exist.
Put a drop of
Magnet's
water.
under pull.
Put a drop of water on that magnet. And press that thing down against it and see what happens.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't the magnet pull itself? You know what I mean?
Pull itself straight up, man.
I mean, yeah. Do you know, Mr. Execrate, if you had to glue those two surfaces together and you only hold the top piece, the bottom won't fall, that's a pulling force.
No, they're bonded.
The water is literally pushing it against the plastic.
With a magnet, there is a low pressure system between the two objects, and thus the pressure, yes, globally as well, low pressure is
Are you
holding
serious?
it
Low
on.
pressure is pressing it on,
Today I want to
you
talk
say.
about hydrostatic pressure. What is it and what does it cause? Hydrostatic pressure has to do with the water pressure that's created around the foundation of your home. When there's a lot of water around your house, it has to find a way to level itself. And in doing so, creates a tremendous amount of pressure on the foundation of your walls. For example, if you have a ball in a swimming pool and you push it down just below the surface, it's not too hard to hold it. But the further you push it down, the harder it becomes for you to hold. And then, when you let go of the ball, it comes flying out of the water, relieving itself of the pressure that was exerted on it.
There is a low pressure system between the two objects. Low pressure is holding it on. I actually commented to this, and I gave answers.
Yes, well, at least I allow comments from those who disagree with me.
The same space. Literally, that's displacement.
Yeah.
But that's why it's staying down, because the vacuum still between the two.
There is no vacuum between the two objects.
He's holding an object down with a magnet.
I am not holding the object down with a magnet. Only the bottom plate that the object's pressed against.
There is a low pressure system between the two.
There is not a low
objects.
pressure system between the two objects. It's two solid flat surfaces being pressed together. How could it be low pressure?
Is holding it on.
So the water above it's trying to get in the air.
And there is no way for water to get into an air pocket. As I said, it's a sealed solid object. So then what's pushing this heavy, dense plastic up against that plastic?
But literally, this is a demonstration of displacement.
Or as some would say,
It's just a relationship between the medium and the object that will either accept it or reject it according to some.
What?
And then there
I
is
know, shocking, right?
RDD.
So the medium is going to reject the object, or the object is going to reject the medium. That's who?
Or reject it according to some.
What?
And their narrative regarding RDD.
Is going to reject the object, or the object is going to reject the medium. That's who?
What?
so how is it without any change in the object or the medium, it's being accepted and then rejected, and then accepted and then rejected?
The object is going to reject the medium. That's who?
Pressure
to be placed upon the underneath of that object.
Sorry. Is there an upward pressure being placed underneath there?
Yes.
Last time I checked, the magnet is pulling the object down, correct?
No.
Not pushing it up.
The plate it's resting on, the container, the water, the table, all of it is being pushed up the directional vector indicated by a plumb line.
Yeah, it's hydrostatic.
Variation of these two situations, the vertical wall and the inclined one that begins right at the surface of the liquid, is if the walls or other member of interest is submerged beyond the surface of the liquid. For example, the shape of the floor of a reservoir, for example a curved bottom, the process would be the same. The pressure on the side is creating a horizontal force, and the weight of the liquid above the curve is creating a vertical load. The weight is divided into 1, a rectangle above the curve, just like we did with the flat inclined wall from before, and 2, the weight of the remaining geometry, which can be calculated using everything we learned during the century and center of gravity main video.
Seen people pick up 100-pound weight using a drop of water.
Can you demonstrate this, please?
One drop of water, 2 smooth surfaces, and you can lift it up because of the
Hydrostatic pressure is a big thing, man.
He's not demonstrating anything that's, phenomenal.
Well, yeah, a lot of it's well-known, demonstrable, measurable physics.
He's just once again showing he doesn't understand physics.
But the error shown here, that's shown a great deal.
Relative density disequilibrium, we're pushing that.
They are setting the down direction, and then the relative density of the item decides where it displaces.
And that is why I'm not dropping relative density disequilibrium, because it does have evidence, it does have scientific backing, and it does show demonstrable reality. And
it's entirely dependent upon the medium in which it resides. So there is a quantification of the relative density of an object within a given medium. So if we make the medium more dense in ratio to the object becomes lighter. If we decrease that, it becomes heavier.
Yeah, because it's all about the medium to object ratio. So it gives its unbalanced force, which causes it to accelerate.
Is going to reject the object, or the object is going to reject the medium. That's
I am busy with that second video on relative density disequilibrium proven.
The sad thing is this exocrate is claiming to be a Christian as well. And he's against stationary. He's very abhorred by it. Anybody that claims the Bible says they are stationary is not a Christian.
Really? You want to produce this? Offer some timestamps or something? Where I claim that if you're stationary Earth, you're not a Christian. I'd ask you more directly, but, you do have me muted and hid in your comments. So what happened to relative density disequilibrium? The object was less dense in water, yet didn't float to the surface.
They are setting the down direction, and then the relative density of the item decides where it displaces.